Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Today, I'm testing. So I'm here in my room, the workout room, trying to make sure that all the connections are going to work when we're in Baltimore next week. So that's what's happening right now. Why you see all of this. I don't have all the back in Baltimore. All these things are going to be up. If you want to kind of see some of the, let's see if I can take you to see some of the, well, I'm on the wrong camera. Let's go ahead and get to the right camera. There we go. I think that is the right camera now. So if you take a look at the background, this is going to be some of the banners that we have out there with the system. I'm still getting it all. I'm still putting it all together. So, but I have to test out more than anything else the electronics to make sure all of that is working fine. And so far, it seems to be working. Anyway, I have all you guys out here. Bruce, didn't you get my email? Bruce, my email and my text. Bruce, I was hoping to hear from you. Anyway, folks, we're probably going to do this on Monday again when I get some other things put together and going fine. All right, let's see what we have here. First of all, I didn't prepare the blog and all of that today because, as I said, we're all here doing this and putting all these different pieces together. But, time flies. Anyway, let me welcome everybody here first. Let's see what we got. Welcome aboard. We have Michael Rutnin from Brooklyn, New York. We have in the house also, I'm scrolling up, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. We have Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. We have Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Paul Fleming from Powder Springs. I got it right. Powder Springs, Georgia. We also have, let's see if I can control this screen here better. Scroll down, Egberto. That's how it works. Increase the size a bit because you're blind. There we go. All right. We also have Bruce Pollard from Montgomery County, who I had expected to be sitting in this chair next to me today, but he stood me up. But what can I say? He doesn't like me anymore. Anyway, we also have other cameras better than this one. Actually, I am still working on the different cameras, right? Because we're going to have several when we have the different people playing out there. E2247 is also in the house. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit, Radnan, a bit. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we get it here. Probably got to look more into the camera. They got two different screens here because they're laptops that I'm going to be using. Like now, whereas on the other thing, I had that huge screen and the other things to keep things separated. The real estate is a bit smaller here, so you kind of have to get used to it. Paul Fleming says, July 4th is all about saying no to a king who would put himself above the law. So November 5th. NEA's convention in Philadelphia is now, let's see, NEA is biggest U.S. professional employee union. Its staff is striking it for unfair labor practices, including overtime non-payment. NEA is biggest U.S. professional employee union. Its staff is striking it for unfair. The union has unfair labor practices. Is that nuts or what? Did I understand that correctly? Let me know if I understood that correctly. That sounds crazy. All right, let's see what else we got here. Para ver. Paul Fleming says July 4th is saying no to the king. Lee Grant says, I saw a lot of American flags on the 4th of July. Captain, many of them were being burned by leftists. Oh, really? It's amazing. What about all those who flew it upside down? You guys are selective, right? Right, Mr. Grant? You don't want to be selective. You want to be equal in the way you judge folks, right? At least that's what I normally try to do. Bridge MCP says, counter, yeah. Me blind too, Egberto. I hear you, girl. I'm trying to make these a little bit larger so I can read from afar because I'm going to have to do that in Baltimore next week. But anytime I play with this keyboard, it kind of screws up. All right. Let's see. Paul Fleming says the U.S. now has more manufacturing jobs than any time last 18 years since 2008. Job openings at any time from 2021. Melanie Keelan says link for Ask Egberto anything. Okay, just go to this link here. HTTP politicsdoneright.com/ask Egberto. Tell me if that works. I think that's the link that we should do for Ask Egberto. Israeli Special Forces raiders in Jenin, West Bank, continue killing Palestinians with U.S. Congress and Biden backing of dollars of weapons. I mean, yeah, what can I say? That's what's happening. We also have Your Mom. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I didn't see any U.S. flags being burned. Don't be lying. I didn't see any flags being burned either, but, assuming that, I don't deny or I don't think the brother's lying. More than likely, Fox News brought a whole lot of old footage. And when they bring that old footage in, they kind of lie to you and tell you stuff that you don't want to hear, right? All right, what else great. I'm glad that works. So yeah, please, folks, sign up for Ask Egberto Anything. Go to politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto, one word. politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto. The other thing I want to test is my phone, because if the phone works here, I'll probably try to get it to work in Baltimore. But unfortunately, I'm just looking down and realizing, Egberto, what's the number for the phone? Let me see if I can pull that up and ask somebody to call the number for the phone. It is funny when you're doing all these things at the same time, one person doing all these things, it becomes like, oh my God, where do I get all this info? Where do I put all of this? All right, let's see if it's in the phone settings here. Yeah, give me a call, somebody, at 281-823-7747. I'm not saying it's going to work because I just did the connection. I just want to see if it works. So can somebody give me a call like right now just to see if we have the connections working with the phone? There we go. All right. Now let me ask you, Bridge, can you hear me?
There we go.
No one's answering.
Can you hear me, Bridge?
No.
You can't hear me. Okay. Let's see why you.
No, I can't hear you.
Okay. Let me. I think I know what's happening. Let me fix that. Let me do a fix on that one because I could hear you. You couldn't hear me. I need to figure out how to send the signal back. So that one, yeah, I dropped you, Bridge. I dropped you because there's a little bit more work that I have to do to bring that into the system. I don't have it working yet. So it seems like I'm going to have to figure that one out tonight, why I couldn't get the signal over. I'll do that tonight. Anyhow, thank you guys. Today I want to talk about 4 things. Like I said, I didn't do a blog or anything because I'm busy getting all these things ready for Baltimore. Here is my question. Well, let's start on Project 2025 because that's the first thing I have on the list. And what I found is the following. I found a great site, and I want everybody to go there if you're able to. The site is called democracyforward.org. Democracyforward.org, I think it's, and it says, the Project 2025 is among the most profound threats to the American people. And here's how they start. I love the way they started because I'm going to read I'm going to try to read all 900 something pages in the next few weeks. But here is what they say. We read Project 2025's entire 900 plus page mandate for leadership so that you don't have to. What we discovered was a systemic, ruthless plan to undermine the quality of life of millions of Americans, remove critical protections and dismantle programs for communities across the nation, and prioritize special interests and ideological extremism over people. From attacking overtime pay, student loans, and reproductive rights to allowing more discrimination, pollution, and price gouging, those behind Project 2025 are preparing to go to incredible lengths to create a country only for some, not for all of us. If these plans are enacted, which Project 2025's authors claim can happen without congressional approval, 4.3 million people could lose overtime protection, 40 million people could have their food assistance reduced, 220,000 American jobs could be lost, and I think it's actually more than that when you count some of the tariff stuff. The stakes are higher than ever for democracy and for people. The threats aren't hypothetical. These are their real plans. The Heritage Foundation and the 100,000 plus organizations that make up the Project 2025 Advisory Board have mapped out exactly how they will achieve their extreme ends. They aim to try and carry out many of the most troubling proposals through an anti-democratic president and political loyalists installed in the executive branch without waiting for congressional action. You know, usually Congress has to approve certain people, but they can actually do appointments, you know, and while Congress is working. And while many of these plans are unlawful, winning in court is not guaranteed, given that the same far-right movement that is behind Project 2025 has shaped our current court system. That is why we are so concerned about the Supreme Court declaring Donald Trump all but king, when they said that he could really do no wrong, right? If he's doing it under the cloak of official duty, he can do no wrong, because again, Trump can do whatever he wants to do going forward. Even if we keep the Senate, even if we keep the House, and let's say they vote to impeach, there will never be enough senators to convict, because this country is not a democracy, and the way that they are apportioned, the Senates, there will never be 67 senators to convict the president. But it goes deeper than that. The president can hold the Congress hostage because the Congress knows that while the president has no problem making sure that Social Security checks doesn't go out or anything like that, he can stop Social Security checks. He can stop a lot of these other things from going out to blackmail Congress into doing whatever arcane thing he wants done. To combat threats posed by Project 2025, we have to first understand them. Good point. What follows are some of the most dangerous proposals that make up Project 2025, specifically those that they plan to implement through federal agencies and a far-right executive branch. The majority of Americans share the same values and priorities, but Project 2025 wants to push an extreme, out-of-touch agenda on all of by reading this guide and sharing it, we can begin to address these threats. And again, the guide is at democracyforward.org. I repeat, democracyforward.org. So what is Project 2025? Project 2025 Presidential Transition Project is a well-funded 8-figure effort from the Heritage Foundation and more than 100 organizations to enable a future anti-democratic presidential administration to take swift far-right action that could cut wages for working people, dismantle social safety net programs, reverse decades of progress for civil rights, redefine the way our society operates, and undermine our economy. A central pillar of Project 2025 is the Mandate for Leadership, a 900-page policy playbook authored by former Trump administration officials and other extremists that provides a radical vision for our nation and a roadmap to implement. These guys intend to win. And that's why the second subject we're going to talk about is going to touch on Joe Biden. And while our phones aren't working the way for you to go ahead and point out or tell me, let's use the chat to do that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give the highlights of the evils of Project 2025. And then I'm going to go into how do we solve it? What are the issues that we have to work with? So here are the proposal. Immediately, cut overtime protection for 4.3 million workers just through executive action, guys. Stop efforts to lower prescription drug prices. Again, big pharma. Why do you think the billionaires are investing in Donald Trump? Why do you think so? Stop efforts to lower prescription drugs. And for all of you in the chat right now that think you're voting for Donald Trump, you're a right winger, you're a MAGA guy. You are voting not only for the demise of others, you're voting for your own demise. When you vote for Donald Trump and when the Project 2025 come into existence, your grandmother, your grandfather, your friends, your families, they are as well are going to be hurt. They're the ones that are going to pay more for insulin. They're the ones that are going to keep paying the exorbitant prices for these drugs. So remember, when you are voting for Donald Trump and you're voting for 2025, Project 2025, and when you vote for Project 2025, you're voting to harm yourself. So you're not only sticking it to liberals and all of us, you're also sticking it to yourself. All right, what else does it want to do? Limit access to food assistance, which average of more than 40 million people in 21.6 million households who rely on those monthly food assistance. So let's talk a little bit about that. Who do you think is the largest recipient of food assistance? The people who vote for Donald Trump. Appalachia, 50% of the people in the whole Appalachian Trail are on government subsidies. Okay? They don't look like me, but they're on government subsidies. 50%. So when they go out there happy-go-lucky and they go vote for Donald Trump, you know who's going to have to try to save them? The Democrats in Congress are going to be fighting like hell not to get the food stamp programs cut because they know it affects us all. Not just liberals, not just you progressives, but it will also affect all those folks in Appalachia, but they don't know it. And they don't need to know it because after they get into power this time, they will make all those poor people vote very difficult to protect themselves. That's all they want to do. That is why we have Reverend Barber, and I'm going to get Reverend Barber on the program again. Reverend Barber is trying to unite all poor people from around the country. He's trying to unite Appalachia. He's trying to unite the ghettos, the barrios, black, white, Asian, everybody, and say, let's not take our eye off the ball. Let's see what they are really doing to us. They're using whiteness to win. Think about this. They are using whiteness to win. But the people they're going to harm the most are their own white brothers and sisters. Bridge, I'm going to try to get that up. If I can, do me a favor again, though, Bridge. I need you to do me a favor. And when I say go, please put it into the chat again because what I'm doing here is I'm firing up a new chat on another computer because remember, because we have limited real estate, I have to do all this work with several computers. So put that graphic in the chat one more time, please. Put that graphic in the chat one more time. Let's see if I can get it on air for you. But so my brothers and sisters out there, put it now. I don't see it now. Put it right now, because then I'll probably see it if you send it now. So there we go. I got it. Let's see if I can go ahead and put that on the screen. I'm going to try my best. Okay, I got it. Folks, Bridge wants me to put this up. I'm going to try to see if we can get it up. I think we made it. We made it. All right. As you can see, we're still in flux in getting Baltimore ready. But folks, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about 40 million people, 21 million households that are going to that may lose a lot or limit their food assistance. That's not Black people. That's not Asian people. So I mean, there is a backstop within the MAGA movement that has a racial component. And that is what that's what Trump has been using. He made the other people, the boogie people. He made a lot of his white supporters believe that progressives are somehow looking out for those other people. And those other people are then hurting you, my dear, good white people. My white brothers and sisters, you can't fall for it. And the reason you can't fall for it is because you're voting against your own interests. What they tell you about putting us against each other has always been a lie. It has always been a lie. They did it from the FDR's creation of the not the Great Society, but you know what I'm talking about. FDR. They've always tried to make the other the boogie person, and they're doing it again. But for all the problem is enough people from Appalachia isn't watching Politics Done Right and other programs like this. And that is what they depend on. They teach them. Only watch Fox News. Only watch OAN. Only watch Newsmax. And anything those other people are saying, they're lying to you. We have to penetrate that psyche. When you see me overarchingly New Deal. Thank you very much, Rodnin. When you see me overarchingly try to reach the other side, it's because I know if I get a chance to speak to some, even if they're not immediately listening to me, let's give an example. Every now and then, Eric Hayes, because of him watching Politics Done Right, the way the algorithms work is some of his friends will ever so often get a link to Politics Done Right. Ever so often, all our right-wingers that are on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, just because they are watching Politics Done Right, ever so often, some of their own people will get some of what we're given in their feeds. Okay, so it's so very important that we keep that door open. It is so very important that we just don't sit back and say, those people are so stupid. They're voting against their own interests. That's not the way to do it. It's not the way to do it. So what else does it do? Cut American Rescue Plan, programs that have created over 220,000 jobs. And it's way over 220,000 jobs. This is old. Restrict access to medication, abortion. Push more than 33 million people enrolled in Medicare towards Medicare Advantage and other worse private options. Remember all the things that we talk about Medicare Advantage and how evil it is and what it does. That's what they're doing. Deny students in 25 states and Washington, D.C. access to student loans because their state provides in-state tuition to undocumented immigrants. So if your state decides to be humane, like Germany, you You can go to Germany as an American citizen and get a fairly free education. You can go to Brazil. You can go to a lot of foreign countries and they will pay. This is not opinion, Eric. You know the good thing about it? It's written down in, guess where? In the Project 2025. Look, the right wing is so sure. The right wing is so sure that its people don't read. The right wing is so sure that its people are stupid. Remember, Donald Trump said it. I am running as a Republican because I didn't say it. Donald Trump said it. He went on air and he said, I like stupid people. I didn't say it. Donald Trump said it. Okay? So let's be very clear here. Now, as it turns out, they are so sure that people don't read that they are laid out a map. They have laid out a map knowing that their folks won't read it, but that all those evil leaders around the country will. And as they read it, they'll join the Project 2025 domain and it'll get funding. And again, this is an opinion. It is written. You can go read it for yourself. It's not opinion. Go read it. Roll back civil rights protection across multiple fronts, including cutting diversity, equity, and inclusion related programs and LGBTQ rights in healthcare, education, and workplaces. So yes, there is a lot. And I don't say people should fear this. Americans shouldn't fear Project 2025. What Americans should do is ensure Project 2025 doesn't ever come to fruition. It's different. All right, let me go ahead and see what you guys have been saying here. I think I need to jump to another keyboard or another part of my keyboard and see what you've been saying, because I've been running my mouth. Issues with Project 25 should have concern, yes. Michael Rodden says Trump is running on a revenge tour. Trump has enemies, lists of some tens of thousands of Americans, and I have no idea what he's going to do after getting reelected. First of all, he's not getting reelected, and that's why we need to talk about Joe Biden after this. Egberto, FDR, these people would dismantle the remnants of the New Deal. Yes, they would. Paul Fleming, CNN, the S&P index closes at an all-time high. Which president with an economy like this has ever lost? Guess how many? None. And Biden is running the risk of allowing the conversation to be changed to do just that. I just have to say it. Now, today I contacted, I don't know if you guys know, Steve Schmidt. Steve Schmidt was a very Republican until Donald Trump came into the fold and he realized that Donald Trump was a clear and present danger to us all. He realized that. And he wrote an article, one of his newsletters. You guys know I have the Egberto Off the Record newsletter that I write several articles every day and I put out every day. Well, Steve Schmidt has one as well. His is called the Warning with Steve Schmidt. That's what he calls his. Mine is, of course, Egberto Off the Record. Now, here is what he had to say. He wrote an article today called the There's No Way Out, No Way Out. And I'm going to read the first paragraph of what he had to say. And then I'll go to analogy that he made that I thought was so well said. But let me first read Bridge MCP say, Egberto and all, please watch the documentary Bad Faith. It will tell you everything about Christian nationalist agenda going way back. Scary as heck. Bad Faith streaming. Thank you for that, beautiful. I tell you what, there's one of the pastors, the son of a pastor who was part of the right wing. Can't remember his name right now, but he's been really on a clip trying to get people to open their eyes up. But here's what Steve Schmidt said. It's important. He said the following. The purpose of this essay is not to coddle, warm, hearten, or cheer you up in any form or fashion. Of course, I wish you all well and strength in dealing with the crisis that our nation faces. I send you my best wishes in the pursuit of happiness. I also urge the practice of good citizenship, tolerance, respect, patriotism, service, and love towards the unfinished goals of perfecting the union, which will endure beyond any of our lives, even past this hour of tribulation and fear. Some accuse me of being a pessimist. I consider myself a realist. And he goes on and on, but he is of the firm belief that President Biden should pass the torch. I have said that internally for quite a while. It's not something that I've been very willing to just go out and talk about, because you have to be measured in the way you say these things. But he laid out something that I want to read to you, and it's so important. I want you to read this or listen to this in the context because it's important. It says the following. Breathe deeply 3 times and journey back 6 months in time to January. Try to imagine what your reaction would have been if someone told you that the following would be true by July 4th. All right? Check this out. All of the Democratic governors would be making a pilgrimage to the White House where they would evaluate for themselves Biden's fitness to continue forward in the race. Number 2, following this meeting, some Democratic governors, including Wes Moore, Gretchen Whitmer, Tim Walz, and Kathy Hochul, would say some version of Gavin Newsom's statements, which was that Joe Biden's had our back. Now it's time to have his. The Washington Post, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Boston Globe, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and scores of other esteemed commentators, not newspapers, but commentators, would call for Biden to step aside. The president's aides, including Ron Klain and Anita Dunn, would be under public attack from the president's family, who reportedly blame them for the greatest self-induced political catastrophe in American history. 48 hours after a debate performance that would implode the campaign, First Lady Jill Biden would appear on the cover of Vogue and respond to the disaster by saying that we will not let those 90 minutes define the 4 years he's been president. We will continue to fight. Hunter Biden, convicted felon, would be working out of the West Wing, leading the family response against the treacherous staff. More than 70% of the country would be saying that Biden doesn't have the mental and cognitive abilities to serve as president. The electoral map would be expanding in the Republicans' favor to include New Mexico, Virginia, Minnesota, and New Hampshire, all states that voted for Biden in 2020. Biden would be behind outside the margin of error against Trump in every battleground state and by more than 5 points nationally. No doubt the Biden high command and national media would have smeared them into dust. Yet here we are. What is the plan? Look, people have to look at things the way they are, not how they wish it would be. I would not be doing my job if I were not honest about it. I know what we would love. Project 2025 is a danger. There are 2 things here. What's more of a danger? Biden People not having confidence in Biden, or people not understanding Project 2025 and what a second Trump administration would entail? You know what? Not mutually exclusive. Not mutually exclusive. But here's the thing, people. We know the American population. We know that a large percentage of the American population isn't hearing this. We know that. We know that a large percentage of the American population also is deluded. And we know that there's a certain percentage of the American population that was programmed into thinking, well, better have a Trump that is cognitive than the caricature of a Biden that has a mental issue, or is feeble, or is weak. So Biden says, let's have an early debate so I can show you guys who I really am when I'm on the stage, when I'm without a teleprompter or whatever. And you go out there, and I don't care what the reasons are. I really don't care what the reasons are. It is malpractice to have done that. And for all of those who are going to attack me and says, what about Trump? Trump just lies. Trump just lies, and Trump misspeaks. That lies. He tells untruth. He mumbles his words. He have problems going down the stairs. He's unhealthy. Yeah, but again, you had that image with the two of them together on stage. You have the images. You have the lapses. You have the internal talking. I mean, we ought to be very, very, very upset right now. Right now at the handlers of this guy, of the people, because I tell you what, we call the people on the right cultists and delusional because they are sticking with somebody, however flawed. And some are saying we should follow the same thing, right? And the truth of the matter is, if we could follow the same thing just to get across this hump and not have and make sure that we get a democratic win across the board to ensure that Project 2025 does not become reality, it would be something that we would have had to do because it is existential. But as it turns out, and you can't just put 100% in the polls, but you can put directionality into polls. You can put trends into a poll. You don't have to believe the absolute numbers of the polls, but you at least need to believe the trend. You at least have to believe the trend. And Breach, if he quits, we don't lose. If he stays, I don't see how we win. That's where I'm at. I just saw him on TV just before coming on to the program. I'm not talking about, I love the guy. This guy has been exceptional. This guy has done the right thing. This guy brought back the economy. This guy saved the country. But nobody is indispensable. Ask Bush number one, who had a 90% ratio. Think about it. No, Breach, again, the people that are pushing the narrative that we can't change now are the losers. The people that are pushing that narrative are the losers. Those are the people who have driven us into hell over and over again. Those are the people that we can't do this. They are the people who got us the Supreme Court that we have today. Michael Moore was trying to warn us in 2016, the same way we are trying to warn right now in 2024. And we were disregarded. Okay, we were disregarded. We explained the situation in 2016. Yes, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but in an undemocratic country, winning the popular vote is not enough. It is not enough. And Michael Moore came out with and this is the other one that I needed to read. Biden's campaign staff screwed us all for horrible prep. They should all be fired. And it's not. But you know what? Here's the problem, Ray. It's not just prep. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to read another piece here. Michael Moore sent out a piece, and I could have written the Michael Moore piece, but having it come from somebody else felt more rewarding. Let me see if I can get to the Michael Moore piece, because he wrote an article and that is so very important for everybody to read. And I think I'm going to write a blog that look at both Steve Schmidt and Michael Moore's article, because Michael Moore said it best. Let's see. Come on. Let me get to that. I thought I had it bookmarked, but evidently it wasn't bookmarked. So which means I'm going to have to figure out how to get there. But Michael Moore, in effect, says we are asking all the wrong questions. And he says it plainly. We are asking all the wrong questions. I think I'll be able to get to Michael Moore's article in a bit now. Because, folks, we have to stop buying the fallacy. Oh, it is too late to do anything. You know why? You know it's not too late? Brother Biden, I love him, but he's 81 years old. Suppose he gets a mini stroke tomorrow. Are we saying that it's over? My daughter is young. My daughter got an unknown stroke. Many people think that what Biden had on stage at one point, I don't know if you noticed that kind of that look, was a mini stroke. And I'm not putting out stuff there. I shouldn't say that. But I want to take that back. I want to take that back. I want to take that back. But let me get to Michael Moore's article here, because he said it best. Where is Moore? Michael Moore. Here we go. His article starts. He says, we are asking the wrong question. And he said the following, to paraphrase an old Richard Pryor joke, who are you going to believe, me or your own lying eye? Since the presidential debate last week, the leaders of the Democratic Party in full alarm fire want us to believe we didn't see what we saw. It was just cold. It was just a cold. Everybody has off nights. Okay, so it wasn't his best performance. By the way, Michael Moore does not have an issue with Biden. We all love the man. We all know the man saved the country. Please don't let what we're saying make you believe that somehow this is against Biden. It isn't. It's just that reality is we age. What else have people been saying? Okay, it wasn't his best performance. All presidents have a bad debate, and yada, 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 yada. These answers are all malarkey. That's probably because we are asking the wrong questions when we ask, what are we going to do about Joe? Maybe we should be asking, what are we going to do about ourselves? And what can we do to get him some help? Perhaps we should start with a definition of terms. Why do people keep calling it a debate? It isn't that kind, like to say. After all, if it was a war, don't there have to be things like armies? Was it really a debate? No, it was not a debate. But I want to get to the part of the article that's important. We saw and we heard all of that, no matter what the party hacks keep telling you. It was heartbreaking. It was truly, without equivocation, unlike anything any of us had ever seen. No matter where you stood on the Joe Biden scale, from the Joe, the working class hero, to Joe, the banker of Palestine ethnic cleansing, one thing was certain: this was not a cold. This was a human being in utter collapse, not just political collapse or performance collapse, but rather a full frontal lobe meltdown, where at any moment you had to wonder, was it possible that the sweet and fragile existence we call life was about to short circuit, or worse, lose power? And that no amount of shouting stat or cutting quickly to a commercial break was going to restore the president come patient to full capacity in order to save this even more fragile democracy. Do not mistake my criticism of Biden spending 9 months in the loving embrace of Bibi Netanyahu as meaning that I did not deeply appreciate his 3 years of being the most progressive president of my lifetime. This is somebody who loves the work of what our brother did. This is not an attack. This is a reality check. That's right, my friends. There has been more action taken through executive orders and legislation to protect the environment. More government officials appointed who are in their hearts of hearts, democratic socialists. More serious funding to lift millions out of poverty. More support for labor unions, libraries, single mothers, and college students deep in debt. This guy loves Joe Biden, and he has had his fervent, almost religious zeal to fight greed and obscene profits due to true compassion he has for those dealt a bad hand in life. And he has had more of all that than a good president like Kennedy, Obama, and Carter were able to muster. Again, I've said it so many times. He has done so much more for our society. He will have another mini strokes in the next few months. He's probably had one or two already. And then sadly, the decline will not be reversed. Best to make a plan now and not wait until October. This is not about whether he is fit to serve another 4 years. This is about whether he should serve another 4 days in the toughest job in the world. That's the question we should be asking. If he offered to drive you from Flint to Detroit tonight, would you get in the car? I am not a doctor. I could be, and hopefully am, wrong about all of this, but I do have eyes. They don't lie. I like nearly every one of you, like nearly every one of you, had 4 grandparents and 2 parents. Some of you have even more with wonderful step parents and step grandparents. And if you yourself are over the age of 40, your eyes have seen it too. The slow decline of your elders, followed by a sudden incident or event that then, without warning, your loved one is confused, not sure where he or she is at, can't find the keys, can't find the rest of the thought she just had, or the ability to even end the sentence he has in the middle of. It's all quite normal and to be expected. And it will visit all of us one day. It visited here, my home, on Christmas Day, when my mother-in-law, talking, suddenly went catatonic, got a stroke, healthy, was dead in 2 weeks. When you reach a certain age, these are the things that happens. And yes, Biden and Michael Rudden is correct. Kamala Harris is a powerful person that was held at bay. She was held at bay. She will destroy Trump. I don't even know if Trump will do a debate if she becomes the nominee, if Biden does the right thing. But what Michael Moore said is something that I feared saying. I've got to admit it. I would tell my close proximities that. I would tell many of you that. Solutions, we have the solution, Bridge. The solution is there, but we got to start now. The solution is for us to have Biden go on national TV. And I have 2 options, really. The first option is for Biden to resign the presidency and make his vice president the president of the United States, and for her to execute that job with the rigor and the power that she has the ability to do so. She's a very intelligent woman. And then at that point, go out and point out that all the magical things that has happened in his administration, including ascending the person Americans voted for the vice president, putting her in the presidency as they expected her to be if he came to the point he couldn't serve anymore. That's the option number 1. And then, of course, she comes the top of the ticket, and they choose a good representative vice presidential candidate at the convention. That is option number 1. And I think that is my preferred option, because the goodwill that will come and the excitement that would generate throughout not only the country but throughout the world would be astounding. But the second option is to maintain the presidency and go ahead and says, I am dropping out of the race and I'm anointing my vice president, who you all hold dearly, and will continue with the process that has lifted America out of Trump's demise, and come out strong in your support. And as she enters the fold, she makes sure to praise Joe Biden for the excellent work he did. For the excellent work he did in actually running the country. Yes, then she runs against Trump, Breach. And I tell you what, first of all, immediately he locks up. Let's talk about the votes that he locks up. And this is not a racial thing. This is a pride thing. Asians are going to say, finally, we're being looked at. Black folks are going to say, finally, we're being looked at seriously, not as an appendage. Yes, there was an Obama, but we're talking about a woman. Women are going to first of all say, finally, the most powerful country in the world is electing a woman. After India, that supposedly is anti-woman. After Pakistan, that is supposedly anti-woman. After Argentina, that is supposedly a Latin country, machismo. After Great Britain, which is a country dominated by you know whom. Think about this. We have lagged the rest of the world in having a woman ascend to power. And more than ever now, we need less testosterone and a little bit more estrogen in our international politics. And then, as an attorney, as a former person, the person who ran the laws of the largest state in this country. Think about this. She could actually deconstruct Project 2025 right in a debate with Donald Trump. She could show that Donald Trump would just be a puppet of the Heritage Foundation, who are the genesis of Project 2025. Only good, sometimes you can make the best tasting lemonade out of a lemon. Sometimes you can make the best drink. After all, fermented corn gives you a nice cuckoo. After all, fermented plantain gives you a good fufu. We have to stop being scared. Bridge MCP says something. She says, what do we do? She says, stop talking about it and give the solution. The solution is staring us in the eyes. If somebody would take away, or somebody would stop saying, stop thinking about the individual and start thinking about the collective. Stop thinking about yours truly and start thinking about those who matter, the rest of the world. And when we finally put on our big boys and big women clothes, then we can start talking about defeating those evil criminals, authors of Project 2025. So look, the solution is there. It is there for all to see. But if we stay here being fearful, then forget it. I am so happy that Michael Moore expressed a lot that I'm scared of nothing, right? But I didn't want to put that an article like Michael Moore put out quite yet. I nibbled around everything Michael Moore said. In fact, if you looked at my blog right after the debate, I put everything Michael Moore said in one paragraph. We all age. We age differently. Compare Fauci and Bernie Sanders with Biden. Bernie Sanders and Fauci are both older octogenarians than Biden is. Yet look at how they act, react, whatever. We age differently. It's not our fault. We age differently. That doesn't take away from what the brother has done over his lifetime. That doesn't take away from any of what he has done. Now think about it. It hasn't taken away anything. Look, because of my setup here, I didn't really, and because I'm so trying to get used to how I'm getting all this stuff set up, I didn't answer all the folks on your chat as I should. Forgive that. I'll go ahead and read out the chat and check it out. Colleen Pacifica says, aloha, my brother. It's been a while since I tuned into your channel. My smart 18-year-old granddaughter informed me about this Project 2025. It's the young people that's going to take over. Bruce Pollard says, one issue will be that Harris was assigned to fix the border and didn't. The only reason she didn't do anything with the border is she couldn't. They had her locked. Her hands were locked. They didn't want her to do anything that drew attention to her. That was their doing. That was their doing. They wanted to neuter, his staff wanted to neuter the vice president. Don't forget, they never forgot that she confronted Biden at a debate and told him an unfortunate truth. That his policies when he was a younger senator was responsible for her school not being, I don't remember, integrated or a bus or something of that sort. Biden has a past. He's atoned. Trump has never atoned. Biden has atoned. But I just realized I got time taken away. I just noticed it's after 4 o'clock, so we got to get out of here. Anyway, folks, look, we'll probably be doing this from this room again on Monday. I'll probably pack up Monday evening, all this stuff. But I got to get all the kinks out first. We still have some kinks to take care of. We're a bit late, but I am going to read through the chats because I can see it was a whole ton of chats that I didn't get to. I want you all to think this through. I don't want no fear. I don't want anybody to be scared. I want us to go out and do things. Tomorrow is Ask Egberto Anything. Go to politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto. That is politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto. And you can sign up for the link there. Of course, it's free to come and to come on to the Zoom and us have our chat tomorrow. Let me see in closing what I need to say. I got to get out of here. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Please become a paid subscriber if you have the ability to do so. We are increasing our membership. It's too slow. Right now, I think we finally got to 130. We need to get to more than 10 times that amount. So if you can, please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Remember, it's less than a coffee. And we get to keep this information flowing. Anyway, I'm going to read your stuff a little later. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby, don't you? I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.